Hey guys, how you doing? I'm doing okay. I saw on the news this morning about responses to president's comments about Jewish people, the Jewish voters, and they're reading something in there that is not there. Okay, and I think what they did was they took it out of context. Um, 2 years ago, or rather, what was it, last year, or it was early this year, that, or is it, I think it was last year, yeah, it was last year, that AOC made that remark on that PBS show where she identified Israel as occupying Palestine and being occupiers of Palestine, and then ask asked what she meant, and then she realized, I guess I can't say that, you know. I said, what I think I meant was, see, so we know by that she's anti-Semitic and anti-Israel, and that was the first time I heard this about, and I thought, yeah, I was shocked at that. I said, this is a member of Congress who's talking like this in 2019? Are you serious? That after all these years of, Israel giving same rights to Palestinians that they give to other Israelis? I said, oh my God, I knew there were people who kept pushing for the idea that Israel is an apartheid state, and it's not, you know. But to hear it from a member of Congress in 2019, are you serious? Did I hear right? I was like, oh. And I think it was last year I saw a video from Israel where young Palestinians and young Israelis got together to create dialogue between them. And through dialogue, they learn about each other and say, you know what? I know what I was told about you, and it doesn't seem consistent having met you. And more young people were starting to participate in that dialogue. And so more and more people were starting to denounce everything that they were taught as children about the other side, and just taking the chance, extending the olive branch, and say, look, the politicians, the people in power, are saying you're a certain way and you're doing certain things and you're not. No, we were told about you, same thing. And the thing is, they both admitted that they were being told lies about the other side. So they're being told lies about them, and they're being told lies about these people. They're being told lies about each other. So they start getting together and starting dialogue and said, you know what? This conflict is going on way too long, and we don't feel oppressed. We don't feel, we're treated well. We're treated with respect and everything. I don't understand what they're saying about you people, because it doesn't seem true. And they said, yeah, it isn't true. We were told about you too. I said, no, that's not true. So they're each telling each other, hey, what we're told isn't true. So, and I said, hey, that's good. That's good. So then we can work toward a two-state solution. Thing is that the three members of Congress are pushing for a one-state solution. And so AOC was the first one. And then I hear early this year about the annual Women's March, where a majority of members are not marching because they're aware of the anti-Semitism within the ranks of that organization. And each year since 2017, it's become less and less. fewer memberships, and more women bowing out of marching because they don't like the anti-Semitism that goes with it. So I thought, wow, that's really something. And then Omar and Tlaib are doing their anti-Israel and anti-Semitism stuff. And of course what they said about 9/11. I said, you know what? And Trump is right when he says that's the face of the Democrat Party. And because Pelosi, they tried to pass, or one senator tried to pass anti-Semitism, condemning it, and they changed it to include all forms of racism, not just, but sort of like dulled down and sort of diminish anti-Semitism by stroking a wide brush stroke over all forms of racism. And with the rhetoric coming from the left about that all conservatives and Trump is a racist, that would mean 3/4 of this country or 2/3 of this country would be arrested. Okay, for holding conservative views and be conservative. So it did not pass, which I'm glad it didn't, because that is exactly what would have happened. So just like what the Nazis did in Germany by incarcerating and arresting anybody who read a newspaper that wasn't Nazi, listening to a radio station that was not Nazi, this would do the same thing by condemning every conservative if they pass that. 3/4 of the country would be arrested. And that's why anti-Semitism has nothing to do with Trump or conservatives. All happens over there on that side. And then they're pushing for BDS, which I didn't even know what it was. I didn't even know that it existed. BDS, boycott, divest, and sanction. I said, whoa. Whoa. And they were trying to push legislation about stopping funding for Israel. I'm like, whoa. Talk about an enemy of Israel. Whoa. You know, and that's really all that Trump is saying. You know, you take it out of context. You try to keep it within the context of his argument by saying that these two congresswomen have made disgusting, nasty remarks against the state of Israel and against the Jewish people. And because of this, and the fact that, see, this is what he didn't say, and this is what he should have said, but you just talk, when you're talking off the cuff, you can't word it the way you would have otherwise. If you took the time to think, okay, how do I write this? How do I say what I want to say? And convey the message I want to convey. You know. And when you're live like that, you don't have that luxury, and you just say it right off the cuff. So he was really showing his concern and worry about Jewish voters who may not be aware of this, like he is and like I am. I'm very much aware of this because being anti-Semitism is a big thing to me. So I'm always constantly on the lookout for it. And any place that I hear it, I will call it out. And I will say, wait a minute, that's not right. And somebody did last night, I was reading something, and I said, his religious affiliation has nothing to do with it. Just like the color of his eyes. Nothing to do with it. There was no reason for you to identify this person as Jewish. It's irrelevant. It's just as irrelevant if I call somebody a Christian, a Catholic, Baptist, you know, Protestant. Who cares what difference does it make? It's not important. whether he's Jewish or not. I don't care about that, and you shouldn't either. But there are people who do. And I call it right out every time I see it. I said, wait, what's that got to do with anything? He might be Jewish, he might not be Jewish. Oh, because he looks Jewish. Looks could be deceiving. And that's a stereotype. Propaganda stereotype. Okay? So basically, that's really all he was saying. He wasn't being anti-Semitic. He wasn't being malicious. Okay? He wasn't trying to alienate himself from Jewish voters. He was basically saying, I see this, and I'm concerned, and I'm worried that you might not see what I see. Because it screams out to me when I see it. Because it's appalling. And like Pelosi, you know, she was stuffing it all down or glossing over it. I said, whoa. By not taking a firmer stand against this, she might end up endorsing it. She might be steamrolled over by these four. Which he saw, I see it all the time. And I hear about it all the time. How they are the face of the Democrat Party. You know. And they're pushing everything they're pushing. Like the Green New Deal and everything. So that other people, the candidates, are embracing the squad's idea. So, yeah, the squad is the face of the Democrat Party. And he sees it, I see it. I'm just as concerned as they are, as he is. But I would say it a little better. I think he could have said it a little better. But if he had planned to talk about that, you know, he just said as he felt. That, and he might have said that wrong, and I think he did say it wrong. But he did mention about the two of them right before he made that statement about Jewish voters. And what he should have said, he should have used the word because or therefore. See, those two words, because and therefore, can really create a statement. So these are not two separate statements. They are anti-Semitic and Jewish voters. Because they are anti-Semitic, they're the face of the Democrat Party. Therefore, or because of this, any Jewish voter, blah, blah, blah. See, those two words, either one he could have used. Therefore or because of. But he didn't. And that's his only crime in this. That he did not use either word. Therefore or because of. That would have made all the difference in the world. And because I've also said that Democrats don't know how to listen. They don't know how to listen. And listening takes the most out of the whole exercise of communication. Most of communication is listening and understanding. Understanding what's being said. Because otherwise, it could be misunderstood. And many arguments, fights, disagreements, separations, all come from being misunderstood. And that's why it's important in terms of communication. You ask the person, do you understand what I mean? Okay, tell me what I said. And they'll read it back to you. And you'll be able to determine if they heard you properly. Or if you communicated it well. And if what they're saying back to you isn't what you meant, then you say, let me rephrase that so you can understand what I'm saying. We do it all the time. We say, okay, let me rephrase that. Okay, maybe I didn't say that right. Let me put it this way. Right? Because that's part of communicating. Listening. which the left doesn't know how to do. So Trump's only crime in this is not what he said, but failing to mention either word, therefore or because those two words would have linked them together. So you really know the truth of where he's coming from. And that it's not coming from anything from within him. It's from his reaction to an external stimuli. Something external. Something he sees. That's not coming from inside him. That's the input he's receiving from Tlaib and Omar. And their interactions with the rest of the House, in particular Pelosi. So I just wanted to give you my take on it and say, please don't judge President Trump too harshly about this. Just because he didn't say it right, just because he could have said it better and he didn't. He's only human, like I'm only human. And he can make mistakes. And as far as about the gun laws and everything, I already said. They're saying, he talked about background checks. Now he's talking about that, and we're talking about mental illness. There's still background checks. He hasn't abandoned that position. It's just he's adding mental health to it. So, anyway, that's all I wanted to say. And like I said, this is my take on it because of the way I hear it and my experience of what I've seen and heard about. That if somebody criticizes your home, do you welcome them in your home? If they say, you shouldn't have this and you shouldn't have that, you shouldn't have this in your home, would you let him in? Think about it. And basically, you should not have this. You shouldn't have this in your home. Do you want him to visit you? A friend of mine was criticizing my film collection, my last girlfriend. Why does he have all these films? Why can't he get rid of it? It's my home. My home, my collection. You are a visitor. You have no right to criticize my belongings in my home. So they have no right to criticize a place they're visiting. And when Israel said yes, initially, and then when they said they're going to, while they're there, that they're going to criticize, but then they said, no, I'm not going. Because it was clear to Prime Minister Netanyahu that what their potential is. So he says, I will let you come and visit under these conditions. Just like you would allow someone to visit your home under your conditions. Right? Let's say the person you're visiting smokes. And you don't want them smoking in your house. And you have every right to make your rules about your house. Or your car. Say, please don't light up in here. I don't allow smoking in my car. But I'm going to just hold the cigarette out the window and blow out the window. Doesn't matter. That's my rule. I don't want you smoking in my car. And don't smoke in my house. If you want a cigarette, go outside. And you have every right to make those rules. Every right. Nobody's criticized for making rules and conditions about visiting. You're visiting my car. You're visiting my home. If you're visiting my car, being a passenger, if you're visiting my home, these are my rules. Please respect them. Right? Well, Netanyahu had conditions too. You can visit, but under these conditions. She says, oh, I'm not visiting now. My freedom, your freedom. Does your freedom have to do with destroying my home? Undermining my authority in my own home so that I'm a stranger in my own house? I didn't want to be a stranger in my own house. And there were a few times that I felt like a stranger in my own house because certain rules that we held down were not respected. Right? And Netanyahu has every right to impose conditions on their visit. And they want to be a spoiled brat. Say, nah, we're not going to visit now. Then we know your true motive. And you can come up with some lame, flimsy excuse about, oh, my rights are being... Do you have a right to murder in my home? Do you have a right to smoke in my house? Smoke in my car? Smell up my home? Smell up my house? Have me be a recipient of secondhand smoke, which I don't want. And I have a right to do that. How about it's something I'm allergic to? Please don't bring peanuts in the house. I'm allergic to peanuts. So I'm sorry, you can't bring peanuts in the house. I'm not allowed to say that. Same thing. You have rules. My last girlfriend is allergic to anything in the Kane family, like Novocaine. She goes to the dentist. She says, I can't have Novocaine. I can't have anything in the Kane family because I'm allergic to anything in the Kane family. Novocaine, Avocaine, whatever else. Does the dentist disrespect her and say, nah, we're going to give you Novocaine anyway, even though you're allergic to it? No, right? Or they said, I'm sorry, but we only use Novocaine. And if you have allergies, then I'm sorry, I can't take care of you. And that is their right. That is their right. And you have your right to say, okay, I will find someplace else to go. That's why there's more than one dentist around. Hello? Same thing with them suing that bakery because their beliefs would not allow them to bake a cake and the couple's gay. Is that the only baker in town? Is that the only baker you can walk to? Damn. God, go to another bakery. Why do you have to go there? They have every right to deny service to you for certain reasons. Just like you have a right not to go to Chick-fil-A. I don't care why. You choose not to go to Chick-fil-A, that's fine. I think their sandwiches are good, and I don't give a damn what their spiritual or religious beliefs are. That ain't my business. My business is getting good food. And that was my reaction to Elton John in the mid-1970s. When it came out that he was gay. I said, so what? So what? It has no influence on how I enjoy his music. Do I enjoy his music differently now that I know this? No, right? I like Elton John. I like his singing. I like his music. I like his writing. I love his songs. I don't care what his personal life is. Who cares about stuff like that? That's totally unimportant and not have anything to do with why I have any dealings with Elton John or buy his records. So, all this boycotting stuff over stupid stuff. If you're going to boycott something, boycott because it's unfair. You know. I don't know. The point I'm making, trying to make anyway, is yeah, Trump could have said it better. President Trump could have said it a little better, a little more condensed, with connecting words like therefore or because of. You know, then he would not have been misunderstood. Because I think he's a victim of misunderstanding from others who just don't know how to listen. But I think the blame could be on both sides. That they jumped to conclusions and creating a narrative that just wasn't there. And he could have worded a little better with two very important little connecting words. Therefore, or because of. And then there would be no misunderstanding. And we would see and understand that because of their attitudes, that's why Jewish people, blah, 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 or voters. This is their stance. Therefore, if Jewish people, Jewish voters, therefore, a very important little word, therefore, it's in the first, it's in Genesis. Therefore, it's a great word. And I say this because the Christian church takes the disobeying of God and the fall of God's grace to be from the Garden of Eden story. And the Torah text doesn't have any of that. Because the Torah text states very clearly, lest the man and the woman eat from the tree of life also and become immortal. Therefore, they are exiled from the garden. Therefore is a very, very important word. And when that word therefore is used, it can scream volumes. Because one is a reason for the other. He is exiled because God did not want them to eat from the tree of life. Therefore, the man and the woman were exiled from the garden because God didn't want them eating from that tree. And to make sure he didn't, or they didn't, therefore, they were exiled. Because of Talib's and Omar's attitude about Israel, therefore, any Jewish voter, therefore, and that is the word that President Trump should have used to prevent and avoid this misunderstanding. Because this was his intent. Because of Omar and Talib's anti-Semitic attitude and anti-Israel attitude, therefore, any Jewish voter, therefore, and if you try to add in your mind the word therefore to what President Trump said, you will have a better understanding as to what Trump is saying and the message he's trying to convey. Because I see the anti-Semitism, I see it with AOC, I see it with the two of them, I saw it with the women's movement and the women's march. And Pelosi not pushing the anti-Semitism, but rather drowning it out by making a blanket law about all forms of racism, which would have put millions and millions of Americans in jail. Because they call them racist. So, that's why it's a good thing it didn't pass. Okay. Well, that's what I want to talk about. And I hope that this video does not get taken down, because I'm trying to convey my message as efficiently and as clearly as I can. But I have to be careful too, because if I use any word that Big Brother doesn't like, or phrase a sentence in any way that Big Brother doesn't like, Big Brother will take down this video. So, alright, that's about it. So, thanks for watching, thanks for listening in. Take care, and hopefully I'll be talking about something more fun next time. Okay, take care. Bye.